Good morning everybody, how is it going? And welcome to the Weirdness of 6.87. As per usual, whenever a new patch gets released, I like to make one of these videos just kind of showcasing what's going on in the new patch, right? Not really that much analysis, just kind of taking a look at what's happening, right? That's what I care about, and hopefully that's what you care about. Now, just to kind of give you an impression of what I'm trying to do here, we have our two Linas right here. Now, you may notice one of these Linas has 6 Scythe of Vices, the other one doesn't. Both have the level 1 Laguna Blade. Now, with the new patch, there came a new feature, I guess, a new attribute of attributes. Intelligence now gives you 1% additional spell damage for every 16 points of intelligence. I heard a lot of people panic over this because they're like, oh my god, it's turning into League of Legends, or whatever the hell else they are saying, right? But let me be honest with you, the 1% spell damage you get from that is really not a big deal. So just to give you an impression of what we're talking about here. The Scythe of Vice, it gives us quite a bit of intelligence, as you can see, 35 intelligence. Our Lina currently has 314 intelligence. We can even up that a little bit more. So she currently has, what is that? 334 intelligence, while this Lina over here has 43. Now I'm gonna make both of them use a Laguna Blade on these two identical Nyxes, right? They have the exact same amount of HP, exact same amount of spell resistance. Pew and pew. You may notice this Lina deals more damage. You may also notice it's not that big of a deal, right? Yes, it does matter. Yes, it is more damage. But it is just not the craziest thing in the world. You can definitely see a difference, right? It is very obvious. However, you gotta keep in mind this is an extreme example. You will never see something like this in a real game. You'll never see a Lina running around with these items. But you gotta keep this in mind, right? Like, it does definitely have an impact on the game. Yes, heroes are now gonna be more powerful in the late game if they rely mostly on spells. But at the same time, it is just not the end of the world. It is not the craziest thing out there. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to be occasionally looking at this screen. This is just where I've got my little notepad open to kind of keep track of everything I'm talking about, so I don't miss anything important. So yeah, that's the plan for today. Let's get into it, shall we? We have some new items. This right here, the Hurricane Pike, is one of the more interesting ones. It builds from a 4-staff. Let me actually go ahead and just open it up in here. From a 4-staff and from a Dragonlance, and a rather cheap recipe. You can use it on yourself, just like a 4-staff. You can use it on allies, still functions as a 4-staff. Now, if you use it on an enemy, however, something else happens. What happens is that both of you get pushed away from each other, and then for 4 attacks or 5 seconds, whichever happens first, your attacks will not have a limited attack range on that specific target. What does this mean? Let me go ahead and put my Legion Commander over here. So you can see my Morphling currently has 480 attack range. Really not that much, right? So this is what we're looking at. Now, if I use this on the Legion Commander, all of a sudden I can attack from all the way over here. This becomes even more interesting if I do stuff like, use this. Pew, pew, pew. Just keep hitting. So we can use our free additional attacks, the one that we wasted, of course, doesn't count, but we can use them anyway and, hit from anywhere on the map. I've heard people talk about silly stuff like using an Enchantress with this, right? You use the what's it called? The Hurricane Pike on an enemy, TP back to the base, and then get your few attacks in. Now, while that would in theory work, especially with the new Enchantress nerfs, I don't really think it's worth it. And, I guess it's like strictly speaking a nerf, that's why I call it a nerf, but Enchantress now has a lower maximum attack range for the impetus, right, where it stops dealing damage, so it's really not worth it. But yeah, so that's kind of how that item functions. It's cute, it's definitely gonna see a play, I think. It seems quite viable on a lot of heroes. It also has a nice build-up, right? This, in my opinion, is a great item for heroes like Silencer and Outward Devourer, right? Fantastic, buys you some space. However, I don't really expect to see much of it outside of those heroes, right? It's really not going to be like a crazy common pickup, but nonetheless, I think it's an interesting item, right? A cool addition to the game. But anyway, that's how it functions. Next in line, we have another really fancy item. We have the Bloodthorn, which is now, I believe, the most expensive item in the game. This has a cost of 7,190.50. Abyssal Blade 6,400. We're going to talk about that in a little while, right? As long as we exclude the level 5 Dagon, though, of course, I tend to do that because I think it's a little silly to talk about the level 5 Dagon in regard to that kind of stuff. But anyhow, now what does this do? It silences a guy, right? Silences them, just like regular Orchid. It has a build-up from Orchid, Crystallis, and a 1,000 gold recipe. And as long as the target is affected by the Bloodthorn, all attacks on the target will be crits of 135%. So if we use that on our Legion Commander right here, right, you can see every single one of our attacks is a critical strike, which is kind of cool. Let me go and refresh her, I don't want to kill her. This also applies to our allies. So if I apply this here, then I can use him to, again, get a crit in on every single attack. It's really nice, actually. This is a very powerful item. I think it's gonna do wonders for a lot of heroes, especially heroes like Storm Spirit, right? Seems very powerful for him. But not only Storm Spirit, actually, I believe the prime candidate for this is probably Klinks, or Brooklyn Kurtz, as I like to call him. Which, by the way, is what I'm calling him from now on. I've decided this today. Brooklyn Kurtz is the best name ever. But I think it's going to be a fantastic item for Klinks, right? Still allows you to build Desolator and just works so well. But Bloodthorn is definitely going to see a lot of play. But yeah, has a great build-up as well. Another new item we have is the Echo Saber. Now, Echo Saber is insane. Echo Saber is crazy. 2,650 gold, right? And every 5 seconds you get a double attack. This double attack comes after a 0.6 second delay. No, wait. Applies a 0.6 second 100% movement speed slow. Sorry, got that one wrong. Read that wrong. Which means that basically it's both Weaver's Geminite attack as well as Sniper's Headshot combined into one thing. This item is actually insane. It works crazy well on Slark. As you could see in that game I uploaded earlier. Also works wonders on heroes like Anti-Mage, of course. Now, what this looks like is basically, let me go and drop this to reduce my attack speed. Looks like this. You saw that, right? This is our regular attack speed, and once this comes off a cooldown, pew, pew, right? Now, let me also go ahead and drop this so we don't have any slowing modifiers anymore. Refresh this, and let's have her walk around a bunch. Right, so this is her regular movement speed, but if we hit her, really quickly, slowed down, right? It's kind of nice like that. Pew, pew. Right, you get two really fast attacks in. This is a very powerful item, as I already mentioned. It does wonders for many heroes. I actually think this item is quite ridiculously broken. It's super good. It's such a fantastic early game item for, again, Slark, or, you know, whoever the hell else. Now, the thing about this is it only works for melee heroes, right? It does not work for ranged heroes, which is, thank God that's the case. That would just be too much. But yeah, only for melee heroes, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Now, another thing to keep in mind about this, illusions do not get the benefit, right? So if I have an illusion here, you can see the illusion just attacks regularly, but it does not actually get the benefit of the Echo Saber. Apart from the stats, of course. So, it's not that silly. Also, a bunch of smaller items in the game now. Let me go ahead and show some of those off. We have the Blightstone, which is just an item that is now used to build into Desolator and Medallion. So the Blightstone, right, it just builds into that and into that. Makes the Medallion slightly cheaper, although not that much. It's just a nice build-up item. All it does is it gives you a unique attack modifier and it reduces your opponent's armor by 2. So if we go ahead and attack this guy right here, you can see his armor is reduced by 2. It doesn't really do that much. It's mostly a cheap early game item, I think. It's probably going to do really well on heroes like... actually, any support, I think. I think it's going to be great for supports. Also, Klinks again. Great item for Klinks. But, yeah, I feel like supports can pick this up early to, like, harass much better. Right? And get a lot of damage in that way. Especially a hero like Jack Hero, I feel, somebody that already deals a lot of base damage, right? Is going to benefit hugely from this. Then there's the Wind Lance, which is just a tiny, silly item. It increases your movement speed by 20. That's all it does. It is used to build into other items yet again, right? So it's another kind of basic component item. Again, very cheap. Builds into drums. This is the new build-up for drums. I really think that's a gigantic nerf for the drums, but anyway. And new build-up for Yules. That's all it's for, right? And then there is actually 2 items left. So we have the Infused Raindrop and the Tome of Knowledge. Now, the Tome of Knowledge is interesting. It grants you 425 experience. So you can see my Nyx Assassin is currently level 2. I activated, we're level 3. Activate it again, we're level 4, and we can't just keep going like this, right? It's just gonna keep leveling him up. Now, usually I only have 1 charge of it. For some reason, I have an infinite amount in my test game, but hey, I mean, we can't really change that, can we? But yeah, so it just grants you some experience. Nothing crazy there, right? It's just, you know, have some experience, I suppose. You can only buy 1 of them every 10 minutes, and the first one you can buy is at 10 minutes. If I had to guess, the way this goes down is it's probably going to be the first one goes to a carry, right? I imagine the first one goes to like position 1 or position 2. The second one will likely be given to a lower position than 1, right? Probably position 2 to 4. And from then on, all of the Tombs of Knowledge are going to be going to the very low positions, right? Positions 4 and 5, the poor supports that can really benefit from it. Depends on your lineup, of course. If you have an Invoker on your team, you may just want to always give it to Invoker, but yeah. Anyway, and then we have the Infused Raindrop. This item is interesting. So it gives you a passive mana regeneration of 0.85, which, by the way, do not underestimate this. 0.85 is a lot of mana. Heroes just don't really have that much mana, right? I know it sounds a little bit silly, but no, in the early game, 0.85 mana regeneration is kind of a big deal. Now, this item is also really cool because if you take magic damage that's higher than 50, you're gonna block 120 of it. So let me go and show that to you. So we have our Lina here, right? We're gonna... Actually, wait, no, the Lina can't. There we go. I was gonna use her. So we have our Legion Commander here, right? Let me go ahead and use this. That's how much damage it deals, right? So about 170. We can do that again. About 170. Oops, now it's gonna deal less. You know, you can see how much damage it deals, right? We pick up our Infused Raindrop. We use this again. Blocks 120. Alright, and then we lose a charge of it. It does have a cooldown. There we go, yet again. Has a nice little animation too. Usually you only have 5 charges, and if they are gone, then they disappear. Again, test client, it's been a little buggy right now, but just so you know. But yeah, so that's kind of that. Pax got a little bit of a buff. His illusionary orb used to move at 650 speed. Now, they actually buffed this. The patch notes say it moves now at 1 additional speed. That's not actually true. If I had to guess, I would say it's 100, because this is significantly faster than it was before, right? This is just faster, right? This is just faster. So I'm guessing it's just it's not just 1, it's 100, so it's at 750 now. But yeah, patch notes say 1, but I guess that's not it. So yeah, let me just go and give you another look at a new thing right here. So we have the scan. Scan is a new ability that everybody has, right? And by everybody, I mean both teams have it. One player uses it, the entire team uses it. It's like Glyph, right? Everybody has the Glyph button, now everybody has the scan button. Now what scan does is it scans an area for enemies, right? So it lasts 10 seconds and it just tells us if there are enemies. It doesn't tell us how many there are, and doesn't tell us what exactly they are doing. It doesn't give us vision, and it does not work on the Roshan pit. But it tells us if there are enemies. It has a 5-minute cooldown, I believe. So if I activate this right here, you can see Winter Wyvern, right? And there's like a red flashing with a sound. If I walk the Winter Wyvern out of it though, turns green, no sound. Walk her back into it. Well, there it goes. Anyway, you saw it. Sadly, I have no way of refreshing it. We'll take a look at it again later. No, sorry. I just can't refresh it. Anyway. So, another new thing in the game, which I think is quite interesting, is actually the new Abyssal Blade. So, Abyssal Blade from now on uses a different build-up than it did before. You need a Skull Basher, a Vanguard, and a Recipe. Now, this means that this item is actually now very different. It works different for most heroes in the game, actually. It's, I think, more of a bristleback item, more of like the tanky frontliner item than a strong endgame item, right, for heroes like Anti-Mage. The thing about it is, it doesn't really deal any damage anymore, right? Before it added 70 damage, now it adds 10. That is significantly less than 70, right? 10 is just a tiny little bit less than 70. So it does give you the benefits of Vanguard, though, right? It gives you the bash chance, and it gives you the active, of course, which still stays the same, except it has a significantly lower cooldown and lower mana cost. So overall, I think this was just kind of a change from having the Abyssal Blade as a strong late-game finishing item and turning it into more of a, you know, like frontliner item, an item that you're gonna see on a Bristleback, a Centaur maybe, right? Those kind of heroes. I think that's kind of interesting. So that's important to keep in mind here. Anything else? Yes, of course, anything else. There's going to be a lot else. So, first of all, we have new Aghanim's effects. You can see my Shadow Fiend right here. His Aghanim's now makes it so that you can have additional souls. You can have up to 46. As you can see, I have 46 souls. If I activate my ultimate, you will also notice those are more souls. Alright, we get that. Bloodseeker now has 2 rupture charges, so we can pew, and then we can do it again, and now she is still only ruptured once, because it doesn't work that way. So that's kind of, a little lame. And now we have the Macropire. Now Macropire, I think, is actually really, really interesting. First of all, they increased the general length of it, but they also made it so that the Scepter duration is now 30 seconds. Now, look at this ability, right? This much range, and this lasts for 30 seconds. That is very long. This is a powerful ability tool, right? Deals 225 damage a second. It's really not something you can fight in. What I think this can be used for, the Aghanims on the Jakiro, is pushing. Look at how long this lasts. This is still going on, right? So what you do is you put down the Macropire, and then you just push. You just take it back. This is still going on. Right, I didn't cast it twice. This is just still now it ended, right? So you just put it down in front of the tower, like across the barracks or something like that, right? And then the enemy just can't fight into you for 30 seconds, and you just siege down their buildings. So that's interesting. This is my favorite effect, Enchant Totem from Earthshaker. Now makes it so that he jumps around. He goes around slam dumbing. Come on and slam. Welcome to the jam. You know, that kind of shit. The dank memes. What happens here is that Earthshaker jumps up, jumps down, and then casts the Enchant Totem in the area. This means that he does stun, right? So if I jump in, does stun, right? Important to keep in mind. Another thing that's important to keep in mind is that Earthshaker can actually still get damaged while doing this, right? So I can still use my Winter Wyvern to attack him. You see? Right? That's kind of something that's worth keeping in mind. I think that's actually really, really important. If I had any hand in this, I would make him invincible while doing it, but it's probably not that balanced. But anyway, I don't really think this one is that great, but I don't know, it's funny. That's all I need. Oracle, Purifying Flames. If you have Aghanims, has a 1 second cooldown and has a lower cast point, right? So to kind of compare it, if we go ahead and drop the Aghanims, right, 2.25 seconds, and it takes a little while longer to cast. If we just, actually, let's unwhat the fuck this. Unwhat the fuck, right? Then we can cast it, and alright, I think you get the hang of it. That's how long it takes. But if we take the Aghanims, then this happens, right? You can see it comes out much, much faster, and we can cast it much more often, which I think is actually quite valuable, right? I feel this is a very, very strong Aghanim's effect. I don't know. It's also a good Aghanim's effect because Oracle can actually use it, right? Oracle is actually the kind of hero that can use an Aghanim's. A Skywrath Mage, I think, is quite interesting. This now deals damage over the duration of, you know, however long it lasts. Wait, sorry. Actually, sorry, please excuse that. I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. We're gonna do Skywrath Mage later. I actually wanted to save him for the end. So we got Mirana. If you get Aghanim Scepter on this hero, then you have a chance, or not a chance, but every 8 seconds it causes the Starstorm to fall down. So if I walk next to him, right, you can see I'm not casting anything, but every 8 seconds Starstorm is gonna fall. Boom. Even has the second follow-up star, right? It's just as if you were casting the ability, it's just passive, which is kind of nice, right? Does not trigger if the enemy doesn't see Miranda, so it doesn't give away your position, but you also can't use it from uphill. So that's kind of important to keep in mind there. We have Gyrocopter. If you have Aghanims on this hero, then you have a little gunner in the boat with you that shoots at whoever you're fighting. Like, shoots at a random enemy within a 600 range every 1.4 seconds. Now, this random enemy does apply, or like this random attack applies all attack modifiers and everything you have. So if I have an Eye of Skadi, you can see the Winter Wyvern is getting slow. This applies for everything. So that's really important to keep in mind, right? It's just a regular attack that comes out every 1.4 seconds that you can't control. Now, if you do have rocket, not rocket barrage, flak cannon though, right? You can see it doesn't actually do the flak cannoning because, you know, actually, I guess you can't see. Let me go over here. Right, but there's actually no flak cannoning happening. You need to actually attack with your main Gyrocopter for that. So that's kind of neat. It's kind of a decent Aghanim, I think, actually. I really wonder if this is good, but we'll see, right? Storm Spirit is actually amazing. So Storm Spirit's Aghanims makes it so that Electric Vortex is an AoE ability, 475 radius, and it pulls in everybody. Now, Electric Vortex is a 2.5 second stun, right? So what we can do with this is, well, we can use it on just one enemy, like so, pull him in, or on however many there are, right? And we can just kind of pull them around like so. Actually, we usually wouldn't be able to pull them around. But, you know, there is a lot you can do with this. It's just like a mini black hole, kind of, right? If I have these guys spread out quite a bit, right? These are far apart, but 475 radius is pretty large. This is insane, right? This is a very powerful ability. And as you can see, even if they're at the very edge of it, so let me go ahead and put them as far, so those two are at the very edge, right? And then I cast it, it pulls them in almost all the way, right? So that's really, really strong. That is really, really strong, especially if you consider that you're Storm Spirit, right? So we can sap around and we can do it while sapping. Phew. I don't know. I really like this ability, actually. I think it's very powerful. Winter Wyvern, she now has the Arctic Burn as a toggle. So we can activate this, and then she just kind of flies around, loses mana every second. We should probably drop some of our sheep sticks, so you guys can actually see that she does lose mana. It's quite a bit of mana, too. It's 40 mana for every second that you have this active, but you can just fly around and be Winter Wyvern. Of course, she does keep her usual, like, you know, attack stuff, so... And you can reapply it too. Usually you can only attack somebody with it once, but with this you can reapply it, which is pretty strong. This is definitely a worthwhile Aghanim's effect. I have no doubts that we'll see this one played. It's just very powerful. It's just kind of, you know, like Winter Wyvern doesn't usually have that much money, right? But this is a strong Aghanim's. Like, I don't know how we could possibly not see this played. Right, that just doesn't happen. Terrorblade, right here, you can see this fella. Why is Terrorblade here, you may ask? Like, what changed about him? Well, he's got 3 more base armor. No, I know, 3 more base armor. What are you talking about? Me pause, there's 4 more base damage, and I don't see him here. Yes, keep in mind, 3 more base armor is a big deal. So this is a level 3 Nyx. Nyx. Can I actually can't drop that. This is a level 3 Nyx, right? He deals 65 damage a hit. This hero does not die. Actually, we're cheating even. Let's drop the Blightstone and refresh this really quick. This hero does not die through right clicks. He just doesn't. Right? This is just not gonna happen. And this is him without any items. Now, if I give him, right, give bots item poor man's shield, right? Now, this Terrorblade has 11 armor and a poor man's shield, which is level 1, right? Like, you can have this out of the base. You can just buy a poor man's shield. Good luck, right? This guy is not dying anytime soon. And I think that's really important to point out, right? You gotta, if you're going up against a Terrorblade now, because he has such a high armor pool, get ready to nuke him down. You're not killing him otherwise, right? He has got more than natural, like better than natural, or better than regular health regeneration. He's got insane armor, the highest armor in the game. Good luck. This is just not happening. Legion Commander. Her Aghanim so makes it so that the duel lasts 8 seconds. Also, you can now disarmor. Couldn't do that before. So, if I do this, right, and then I have my Heaven's Harbor, I got all the time in the world for this, right? Disarmor, she can't attack anymore, right? So that's kind of important to keep in mind. Also, did you see how long 8 seconds is? Look at this shit! That's like forever! That just lasts forever! These duels, that's a long time, right? That is a long time. Oh, where did my silencer go? I believe I pushed him around a little bit. I lost my silencer. This is unfortunate. Wait. I kind of need him. That's a Nyx. No, that's another Nyx. I used to have a silencer, but then I lost him. Alright, I guess we'll just use this guy then. Level bots. 25, there we go. So, Arcane Curse now slows. Previously, I was the biggest opponent of Arcane Curse. Hated the ability, thought it was worthless. And now it slows for 18%. Look at this. Alright, this is actually quite a significant slow. Alright, these guys are slow now. And that matters. Alright, she's moving at 350 speed because she has a Manta Star. That is, you know, the kind of speed you could expect somebody to move at. So if I put this out here, 294. Now the important thing to keep in mind here is, right, this gets refreshed every time you cast a spell. Arcane Curse is actually really good now. You have such a strong slow potential, right? You put that in a team fight, and those guys are just slowed now for the rest of the team fight because they have to cast spells. How else are they gonna fight, right? So this is just a really strong ability now, and I'm actually kind of surprised that he did that. But yeah, however, the last word now doesn't have a slow anymore, which I think is a little odd. Now last word doesn't really do that much. It used to like do so much, and now it's just like pure damage and a little bit of silence. But yeah. Another thing I wanted to show off is Sniper's Shrapnel. Let me go ahead and create Hero Wyvern. Funnily enough, quick side note, if I summon a Wyvern in this, right, it's always an enemy for some reason. I don't know. Shrapnel now deals 60 damage a second. Shrapnel deals a lot of fucking damage. You gotta respect Sniper now. Sniper is actually just... This just hurts, right? This is just strong as hell, right? Very powerful ability. You definitely have to start respecting Sniper again. I know for the longest time he was just like, oh, well, Sniper, right? But please, you gotta keep in mind this guy is actually kind of nasty now. So, yeah. The only thing left to show you is actually one of my favorite things. So there we go. We got the Skywrath Mage with the Mystic Flare. Give bots item heart. And let's do that a bunch of times. We have our 7,500 HP Winter Wyvern right here. Okay? Look at this lady. Heal her up. This lady has 7,500 HP. That's a lot of life. I got time. All the time in the world. I'm just saying, this ability deals 7,000 damage. Now, of course, it's unreasonable to expect to hit with all of its damage, right? But this ability deals 7,000 damage. It also has a 5-second cooldown, right? So let's assume we actually get to cast it on somebody. Let's go ahead and max this out too, right? Pew. Put this down. 5 seconds. For some reason, we have managed to keep her stun locked. this ability is actually just ridiculous. This deals 7,000 damage. This is the highest damaging spell in the game. 7,000 damage. I'm just saying, it's actually crazy. Anyway, one thing I want to quickly point out is illusions do not get the new passive Aghanim's effects, right? So with the gyrocopter, for example, right, we would usually expect him to shoot at her, but the illusions don't do that, right? I think this is quite reasonable. Same is true for the Mirana, right? Actually, she does not appear to have a Manta Star right now. Let me go and fix that. Give what's item Manta. Right, so she casts the Starstorm like this. There we go, right? If I summon the illusions, there's not gonna be a Starstorm unless I keep my hero around. They're just not gonna do it. So it's not like that, right? They aren't that ridiculous. Now the last thing I want to show you, the second to last thing I want to show you actually is what happens. Actually, I should maybe save this for last. Because Shadow Shaman Mass Serpent Ward now has a different kind of splash damage, right? It has a splash radius of 175 with 75% splash damage. I just want to show you how big that radius is because I feel like it's actually quite strong. But this might crash the game, so before I do that, let me go ahead and show you the new map. So, important things. There we go, already refreshed. There's a ramp up here, right? So you can now go to the ancients like this. This ramp. Where are my spawn boxes? Spawn boxes. There we go. This ramp does slightly interfere with the spawn boxes, right? But you can avoid it if you just walk around here, so you're gonna be fine. You can also hide behind this tree, which is kind of cute. Right, but this is kind of important. There's a lot more than I'm going to show you right now, by the way. I just kind of want to go over the things that I find interesting, right? So that's the first big one. Then down... sorry, I have a little tab open that has all of the important information. Down here, there's a little spot that you can hide in, right? These trees have been rearranged. There's also a little spot that you can walk through down here now, which wasn't there before. Actually, oh, you can't walk through it, but, you know, it's just a little hiding spot yet again, which I think is cute. I like having those. I think that's really one of the big things that make Dota interesting. If we go up here, there's another little area that wasn't there before, so we can go through this and then end up all the way over here. Or we can actually keep walking, and you can see there's actually quite the intricate jungle area around here now, so that's kind of cool. You know, I don't really know how often you're gonna end up needing that one, but hey, we'll take it. Around here, there's a new hiding spot. So this is just mostly for jukes, but yeah, you can hide in here. The nice all vision. If I go ahead and move her away, right? Like you can see that you can't actually see inside or outside of it. And last, but of course not least, there is nope, no. Where's my animation? There he is. There's a new warding spot up here, right? Hello. So that's kind of important, you know. New warding spot. Dire Jungle is super easily warded now, man. Like with this spot and this one. Oh wow, oh, that's kind of crazy. But yeah. Anyway, let's get to the fun part, shall we? So we're gonna go ahead and group up all of our heroes that we have here. Can you not? I'm trying to kind of do a thing here, right? Thank you. Okay, we're gonna get you guys. Gonna get you guys in here, sure. The Morphling, why not? You. Thank you. So there's like a 90% chance this is gonna crash the game, but whatever. Right, so you can see they are quite close right now. I don't actually want them to be that close. I want them to be spread out a little bit more. So you guys can actually see the AoE properly. Right. There we go, that seems quite reasonable. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and just put down these wards. And, nope. Okay, hold. And attack the Jakiro in the middle. So you can see, this is the AoE. It's actually quite big. Right, like, there's a lot of heroes taking damage here. I actually thought this was gonna be a little bit more drastic, but suppose I overestimated how much damage the Serpent wards deal. Oh, man. So, yeah. But yeah, I guess that's that. So the weirdness of 6.87. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating, and we would definitely appreciate it. Maybe consider subscribing. I upload every day. And yeah, I hope to see you tomorrow. Goodbye.